In Washington, lawmakers have 1 week to agree on a spending bill, or else the government will run out of money. Senate Democrats are opposed to a House bill aimed at cutting $61 billion from the budget for the rest of the year. House Speaker John Boehner shot down suggestions that Republicans are willing to scale back the cuts.
Now, here's the bottom line. Democrats are rooting for a government shutdown. We're listening to the people who sent us here to cut spending so we can grow our economy. As I said from the beginning, our goal is to cut spending, not shut down the government.
However, Boehner may face some opposition on that point from within his own party. Tea Party supporters rallied on Capitol Hill Thursday. Many say they are not willing to compromise on a budget and want to see deeper cuts. Joining us now from Washington is David Marks, senior editor for Politico. Thanks for joining us, David.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think is going to happen in this next week? Could we possibly see another temporary funding bill?
It's entirely likely, I would say. Both sides are a long way off from coming to agreement. As was just noted, Republicans say, at least publicly, they are not willing to cut back on their spending slashing. Democrats say they've already cut enough. They're not going any further. So I can see one more temporary spending bill before a final agreement is reached.
Well, Tea Party members were chanting, cut it or shut it. Do they have the political power to say these budget cuts aren't enough and possibly force a shutdown?
It's really up to Speaker John Boehner. If he wants to throw in his lot with the Tea Party forces, he would have to go the route of a government shutdown and take those consequences. Or he could perhaps get some Democrats, some moderate, even conservative-leaning Democrats to vote his way and pass it without a big chunk of his party. Neither option is really very appealing for him, but he's got a choice to make.
All right, so is there any kind of common ground here? Is there anything the Democrats and Republicans have agreed to cutting?
That's the thing about this so-called agreement they had. Democrats have said privately they're prepared to cut up to $33 billion. However, they haven't said where that would come from. The budget has been shaved a lot already, and there just aren't that many places to cut from anymore.
Congress also held 4 hearings on Libya Thursday. Secretary of Defense Robert Gates came out and said we cannot be involved in a long-term commitment in Libya because there is a serious budget issue. That said, how will this affect the U.S. operation in Libya?
One of the big sticking points in terms of cutting the budget is defense. Democrats have said that should be on the table. Republicans have generally shied away from that. So it is a sticking point. These are funds that are needed to prosecute the military action in Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, elsewhere. And without those funds coming through, with just the government at last year's levels, it's not clear there is enough money there.
A lot of decisions to be made, and the time is ticking. All right, David Mark from Politico, we appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.